Have you ever walked into a room and felt completely invisible? Not because you weren't dressed beautifully, not because you didn't carry yourself with grace, but because something was missing. Now imagine this. You walk into that same room, and suddenly heads turn. Eyes follow. Someone smiles a second too long. And no, you didn't change your hair or lose 10 pounds. What changed was your scent. You see, there's something about fragrance that speaks louder than our words ever could. It lingers when we leave. It enters before we do. And for women over 50, it can be the most powerful signature we carry. Because we've lived. We've loved. We've learned to stop chasing attention and start commanding it. Quietly. Effortlessly. In today's video, we're not just talking about perfumes. We're talking about identity, presence, and the kind of impact that leaves someone thinking about you long after you're gone. These aren't trends or teenage body sprays. These are 5 carefully chosen scents, worn by women who don't need to speak to be heard. So if you've ever felt overlooked, if you've ever wondered how to be remembered without trying too hard, stay with me. Because the right fragrance doesn't just make you smell beautiful, it makes you unforgettable. When we're younger, it's easy to think attraction is all about looks. The right dress, a fresh haircut, maybe a bold lip color. And sure, those things matter. But as we grow into ourselves, into our confidence, into our calm, we start to realize something deeper. Real connection isn't about being seen, it's about being felt. And nothing evokes feeling more than scent, not even sound or sight. Neuroscience tells us that smell is directly linked to the parts of the brain that control memory and emotion. For men, it's even stronger. A single note of perfume can trigger a memory, stir desire, or unlock a sense of nostalgia they didn't even know they had. That's why the right fragrance isn't just a beauty choice, it's a form of communication. It says something about who you are, without saying a word. It whispers elegance, confidence, warmth, depth, even mystery. It's your story, wrapped in notes of jasmine, vanilla, sandalwood, or spice. And for women in our 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond, scent becomes even more important. Because we've moved past the noise. We're not trying to impress, we're expressing, we're not asking to be noticed. We are choosing how to be remembered. So, before we dive into the 5 unforgettable fragrances that men notice instantly, let me say this. You don't need a new perfume to be worthy of attention. But the right one? It can become the invisible signature that makes your presence impossible to forget. Let's start with a scent that's warm, soft, and quietly powerful. Dior Hypnotic Poison. This isn't a perfume that shouts. It doesn't sparkle with sugar or try to smell younger than you are. It leans in, it lingers, it invites someone closer without ever asking. Hypnotic Poison blends almond, vanilla, and jasmine, and somehow it manages to smell like comfort, but also desire. There's something about vanilla, in particular, that studies have shown is deeply tied to feelings of trust and intimacy in men. It reminds them of warmth, of safety, of something familiar and irreplaceable. Add the soft floral notes and a touch of spice, and you have a fragrance that's less about seduction and more about emotional connection. It's perfect for dinners, for quiet moments, for nights when you want to be remembered not for what you said, but for how someone felt sitting next to you. It doesn't walk into the room before you. It stays after you leave. This scent is for the woman who knows she doesn't have to prove anything. She's not trying to be the center of attention. She's just being herself. And somehow, that's exactly what pulls people in. 1. Dior Hypnotic Poison. A sweetness that doesn't seduce. It makes people surrender willingly. There's a different kind of power that comes with experience. It's not loud, it's not flashy, and it doesn't beg for attention. But when it walks into a room, it shifts the energy. That's exactly what Dior Hypnotic Poison captures. Not the excitement of youth, but the irresistible pull of a woman who knows who she is. This perfume doesn't try to be sexy in the obvious way. There's no glitter, no sparkle, no high-pitched sweetness. Instead, it leans into something deeper, comfort that feels intimate, and warmth that draws people in without them realizing why. It opens with almond, creamy and soft, almost nostalgic. There's something in it that feels like a familiar embrace, a memory you can't quite place, but don't want to forget. Then comes the vanilla, not the sugary kind you find in body sprays, but a rich, smooth note that lingers on the skin like the feeling of a late-night conversation you didn't want to end. It's inviting, safe, subtle, but captivating. And just when you think it's settled, the jasmine reveals itself, floral, feminine, but with quiet depth. It adds just enough softness to turn warmth into elegance. Together, these notes don't scream, they whisper. They stay close to the skin. They wait for someone to come a little closer, and then they leave a mark. What makes Hypnotic Poison unforgettable isn't just the way it smells, it's the emotional weight it carries. According to studies on scent psychology, notes like vanilla and soft florals trigger subconscious feelings of trust, safety, and emotional connection, especially in men. It's not about attraction in the surface sense. It's about resonance. It makes people feel something, even if they don't know why. That's why this fragrance isn't for busy rooms or loud parties. It's for quiet dinners, late-night walks, slow mornings with someone you care about. It's not about being noticed by everyone. It's about being remembered by the one who matters. Hypnotic Poison is for the woman who doesn't compete. She doesn't chase. She simply is. Grounded, calm, magnetic. She's not asking to be loved. But if you're lucky enough to be close to her, you probably will be. And the best part? She doesn't need to convince anyone. The scent speaks for her, gently, unapologetically. And once it's in your memory, it's not going anywhere. 2. Maison Francis Kurkdjian, Baccarat Rouge 540. You don't need to explain yourself. They'll want to know who you are. Some fragrances make you feel pretty, others make you feel powerful. Baccarat Rouge 540? It does something rare. It makes you feel unforgettable. This isn't a scent for the faint of heart. It's not light, playful, or safe. It's bold, mysterious, and absolutely unapologetic. And that's exactly why it works so beautifully on mature women. Because by now you're not asking for permission to take up space. You're done shrinking yourself. This perfume meets you right there, where confidence and depth collide. The first thing you notice is saffron, warm, spicy, almost golden. It doesn't flirt. It seduces the air around you in a way that makes people lean in without realizing it. Then comes amberwood, smooth and woody, like the warmth of skin touched by sun. And finally, cedar, grounding the scent with quiet strength. It's not earthy like a forest. It's refined, polished, intentional. What makes Baccarat Rouge 540 unique is how it reacts to your skin chemistry. On each person, it's slightly different, like it customizes itself to your personality. On one woman, it may smell deep and resinous. On another, airy and radiant. That's why people notice it. Not because it's overwhelming, but because it feels personal. There's something elegant about how this scent lingers. It doesn't just announce your presence. It stays behind, like a signature. Something that says, "She was here, and I haven't stopped thinking about her since." And the science backs this up. In sensory studies, woody and resinous notes, like cedar and amber, have been shown to trigger emotional openness and curiosity, particularly in men. Not surface-level interest, but something deeper. A kind of magnetism that's less about attraction and more about intrigue. It doesn't scream, "Look at me." It asks a quieter question. Who is she? That's what makes Baccarat Rouge so powerful. It doesn't need to fight for attention. It draws people in, slowly, then leaves them wondering. It's not a scent you wear to be liked. It's a scent you wear when you know exactly who you are, and you're okay if not everyone gets it. In fact, the people who do notice it, those are the ones worth keeping close. So if you're a woman who's lived, who's loved, who's had enough of surface conversations and shallow praise, this is your scent. It's the quiet confidence of someone who doesn't chase. She attracts, not by accident, not by effort, but simply by presence. And that presence is unforgettable. 3. Chanel Coco Mademoiselle, for the woman who never tries too hard, but always stands out. There's a reason Chanel Coco Mademoiselle has become a timeless favorite among confident, sophisticated women. It's not just about how it smells, it's about how it feels. Light, yet grounded. Elegant, but playful. It's the olfactory version of a woman walking into a room with her head held high, not looking for attention, but drawing it anyway. At its heart, Coco Mademoiselle is French elegance with an edge. The scent opens with bright orange and bergamot, clean, citrusy, and invigorating. It's the kind of opening that makes you feel fresh and sharp, like crisp linen on a spring morning. But very quickly, it unfolds into something richer. Turkish rose and patchouli. That's where the magic happens. The rose isn't soft and powdery. It's full-bodied, assertive, a little sensual. And the patchouli? It grounds the fragrance with an earthy warmth that feels expensive, experienced, and mature. Not in age, but in essence. This is not the perfume of a girl finding herself. This is the perfume of a woman who already knows. Coco Mademoiselle is incredibly versatile. You can wear it to a business meeting, and it'll say, "I'm prepared." You can wear it to a daytime date, and it'll say, "I'm effortlessly captivating." You can wear it when you're alone, at home with a book and a glass of wine, and it'll still feel like you're treating yourself with the grace you deserve. And here's something fascinating. In consumer studies by the Perfumes Society, men ranked Coco Mademoiselle as one of the top 3 scents that made them feel drawn to someone, even when they couldn't explain why. That's because the combination of floral and earthy notes taps into emotional familiarity and physical interest at the same time. It doesn't overwhelm the senses, it engages them. It's like that woman you meet who seems perfectly put together, but not in a try-hard way. She's stylish, but not trendy. Warm, but not clingy. Mysterious, but still open. You leave the interaction wanting to know more, not because she gave you everything, but because she didn't need to. That's Coco Mademoiselle. It says, "I've arrived," without having to raise its voice. It's subtle, yet undeniable. And for women who move through the world with quiet confidence, it's the perfect companion. Because sometimes standing out has nothing to do with volume and everything to do with presence. 4. Yves Saint Laurent Libre, soft, strong, free. If you've ever been called too much for being strong, or too soft for being emotional, Yves Saint Laurent Libre is the fragrance that reminds you, you can be both. And you should be. Libre is French for free, and this perfume is exactly that, a celebration of freedom, of contrast, of balance. It's for the woman who knows her strength doesn't make her cold, and her softness doesn't make her weak. It's for the woman who has stopped asking permission to take up space. The scent opens with lavender. Fresh, herbal, clean. Not the old-fashioned kind you find in linen sprays, but a cool, modern twist that feels calming and commanding at the same time. That's immediately met with orange blossom, which adds a touch of floral sweetness. It's radiant, feminine, but not girly. Underneath it all is vanilla and musk, giving the whole fragrance this creamy, sensual base that sticks with you throughout the day. What makes Libre so special is how it reflects the woman who wears it. She's composed but passionate. She's calm but unpredictable. And when she walks into a room, she doesn't take over, she anchors it. And here's where science meets intuition. Studies show that lavender has the ability to lower stress levels while increasing feelings of trust and attraction in men. In fact, a study from Wheeling Jesuit University found that men rated women wearing lavender as more open, more attractive, and more comforting, all without even realizing why. That's the power of subconscious emotional chemistry. Libre isn't loud, but it gets noticed. It's ideal for daytime occasions, brunch with old friends, a casual date, a gallery visit, situations where being yourself is enough, and more than enough. It creates a scent trail that says, I'm confident, I'm calm, and I don't need attention to feel valuable, but I often get it anyway. This is the fragrance of a woman who's moved past chasing someone else's definition of put together. She wears what she wants. She says what she means. And if that's intimidating, that's not her problem. YSL Libre is for the woman who holds contradictions without apology. Soft voice, strong spine, gentle heart, sharp mind. It doesn't ask you to pick one version of yourself. It invites you to own all of them. Because real freedom isn't doing what others expect. It's being exactly who you are. 5. Tom Ford Black Orchid, for the woman who dares to be unforgettable. Some fragrances are beautiful, others are intriguing, but Tom Ford Black Orchid, it's intense. It doesn't try to charm you. It dares you to lean in, to follow it, to figure it out. And most people can't. This isn't a perfume you wear to blend in. This is what you wear when you've stopped asking, what do they think of me? And started asking, do they deserve access to me? It's rich, dark, and mysterious, and perfectly suited for the woman who no longer plays small. Black Orchid opens with a surprising mix, black truffle and ylang ylang, layered with subtle hints of dark chocolate and spice. It's bold and earthy, almost forbidden, the kind of scent that instantly makes someone wonder, who is she? Not in a curious way, in a spellbound way. As it settles, you'll notice floral notes, but they don't soften the scent, they deepen it. They give it layers, because that's what this fragrance is really about. Depth, complexity, the unapologetic truth that you're not meant to be simple or sweet or easy to figure out. Wearing Black Orchid is like wearing red lipstick at midnight, not for show, but because you can. It's the scent of a woman who's lived through heartbreak, through reinvention, through triumph. And she doesn't owe anyone an explanation. Now here's what's fascinating. In behavioral studies, earthy and musky notes, like those found in Black Orchid, have been linked to spikes in dopamine production in men's brains. That means emotional arousal, curiosity, and interest. Not the kind that's based on looks, but the kind rooted in instinct. This scent doesn't attract with sweetness, it hooks with power. Black Orchid is best saved for the night, for dinners where the conversation goes deep, for evenings where you don't want to be polite. You want to be memorable. It leaves a trail, it clings to the air, and when you leave, people feel it. This isn't a signature scent for every woman. But for the right woman, the woman who owns her space, who isn't afraid to be intense, who knows that mystery is a gift, it's perfect. Because Black Orchid doesn't beg to be loved. It chooses who it lets in. And once someone's caught in its spell, they don't forget. We've talked about 5 unforgettable perfumes. But this wasn't really a list, was it? This was about something deeper. Because as women, especially as we grow older, the world often tries to quiet us, to make us feel like the most vivid parts of who we are, our fire, our complexity, our presence, should fade. But they shouldn't. They should grow bolder. Your scent is one of the few things you wear that's invisible, and yet it says so much. It's your emotional signature. It tells a story before you speak, and long after the conversation ends, it's what people remember. You don't need perfume to be beautiful. You already are. But the right perfume? It reminds the world, and more importantly, it reminds you of the kind of woman you've become. Not perfect, not polished, but whole, real, unapologetic. Maybe you're drawn to something soft and intimate like hypnotic poison, or something bold and mysterious like black orchid. Maybe you want the freedom and balance of YSL Libre, or the timeless elegance of Coco Mademoiselle. Maybe you're ready to make a quiet but unforgettable statement with Baccarat Rouge 540. Whatever you choose, let it be for you. Let it reflect the woman you are now, not the girl you used to be, and not the version others expect you to be. Because this season of your life, it belongs to you. So wear what feels like power, wear what feels like comfort, wear what feels like home, and let the scent you carry into the world whisper the truth. I am here, I am enough, and I am not easily forgotten. If this spoke to you, I'd love to hear from you. Which scent tells your story best? Or do you have one that's completely your own, your signature? Drop it in the comments. Let's celebrate fragrance not just as beauty, but as identity, memory, and emotion. And don't forget to subscribe, because in our next video, we're breaking down the biggest scent mistakes women over 40 make, and how to avoid them with elegance and ease. Until next time, wear your story well.